Well, this is the River Uge at Mount Pleasant, only 2 miles from the busy stir of Peterhead, a peaceful spot. And this is where the Earls Marshal of Keith used to live. And it was they who founded a fishing village at Peterhead, where this river enters the sea. Now, they lived in a castle, and it's got a remarkable story. It sounds incredible, but over 300 years before the Keiths came to the castle, in 1593, Thomas the Rhymer forecast that these feudal earls would become landless. He wrote, "Inveruge by the sea, lordless thy land shall be. Underneath the cauld hearth stane, the tod shall bring her bairnies hame." In 1715, the forecast proved true, when the Earl and his brother joined the Earl of Mar on the ill-fated First Jacobite Rising. They were exiled for it. Not far from the castle, the river meets the sea. Before the days of man-made harbours, it was a natural place for a fishing station. The fish house is a remnant of early days before refrigeration. So this is where the most easterly town in Scotland began its life. Scotland's loss was Prussia's gain. One became a brilliant field marshal. This is his monument, and it stood for a long time in Berlin before it came here to Peterhead. I'm away down to the harbour to meet up with another rhymer. Peter Buchan, fisherman, poet, storyteller, school teacher for a time. His poems are in the Couthy Doric of the northeast.
Were I but young and feel again, and that can hardly be. I'd like to make a change or two. I wouldn't seek the sea. Could I but pick and choice again, I'd tramp another road, and keep my fat wheel planted on the firm, dry sod. Could I but pick and choice again, I'd like a wiser heed. Then in the ups and downs of life, I might come more speed. But where I had to start again and tell a choice was mine, it's land or sea I'd tackle with the same old quine.
To walk round the harbour and hear his thoughts and words of wisdom was a joy.
Oh, I was a fair edge as when I started. I've been off a fond of poetry, but I had never written any till I was just after the war, the first year after the war. I was coming home from Yarmouth in a drifter. 2 hours in the watch in a wheelhouse, and as fishermen do very often when they're on watch together, they speak about they're going for nostalgia, you see. Do you mind in this and do you mind in that? What we did doing about the rocks and all the different ploys that we had as loons. And I just started from there. I wrote a poem that night after I get off watch. I wrote it on a bit of old echo sounder paper. It was just to do with what I did when I was a loon.
When did you actually take to the sea?
The early 30s, as soon as I left the school. There was word that I would go to the university, but there's no financing these days for university. So that was out. And then my father died and that settled it. It was a fishing watch for me. Of course I was full of the romantic idea that there was nothing in the world but the sea. It was no longer that was knocking out of me. Every fisher boy, he wants to be, he's just like a loon ashore. He wants to be for his dad is, you see. And I wanted to be a fisherman. Some boys wanted to be engine drivers. You get doctors' sons that wants to be doctors. Great feeling I wanted to be a fisherman. Got to be a fisherman. I learned very quick that there's not a month in the sea. It was just a case of hard graft. 3 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. 6 days a week. On Saturday we had a half day, but we still put in a 12-hour day. So it came to be that your weekend was just more or less for sleeping. Come home at the weekend and you just did again for your head or for your feet was. Long hours on your feet. There was never such a thing as a meal hour in a fishing boat. You just swallow your grub and up again. No fish, no money.
And what about the prices for fish, Peter?
Oh, the price of fish was something ridiculous. We got a 10 shillings a box for fresh codlins. Them absolutely fresh. Just them still quivering, still more or less alive. 10 shillings a box. I suppose the same thing now is worth about £60. And you get 12 and 6 for a box, a small place. 12 and 6 for a box. Oh, you couldn't make a living at that. It's more or less impossible. I've seen Peterhead Bay full of ships dumping their catches into the sea and going straight away to sea again and catching more. Coming in the next day, dump them again. Just keeping them over the side. Beautiful fresh herring, nobody wanted them.
And how about the conditions aboard these modern boats?
Oh, there's no comparison with the conditions in my day. In my day, you were on the open deck for 20 hours a day. And you had no shelter whatsoever. Whatever came, you had to take it. And you got it down on you like leather. But nowadays they're all completely covered in. A good idea for safety and for comfort, but sometimes I think the boys are like a bunch of battery hens. You'll never see the sun-tanned fishermen that you used to see. Because the skipper never sees his crew now. The skipper's looking out of the wheelhouse, and all that he sees is the top of a roof. He can't see them. And he has a closed-circuit television in the wheelhouse beside him. And he switches this on to see how his crew's doing. And they've got showers, and some of them have central heating. They've got fridges and freezers, and all mod cons. The only thing that we had aboard was a bucket. You all had to wash yourself in the same bucket, which wasn't very hygienic. Sanitation-wise, we just had no sanitation whatsoever. They've got everything they require now.
Would you advise a young man to go to sea today?
Oh, definitely. For money, certainly. You could make a good living at the sea. But it wasn't advisable in my day. In my day, the best of the fishermen that were at the sea were advising their boys, now, whatever you do, don't go to sea. Take an oar on your shoulder, get an oar and put it on your shoulder and walk up the country. And keep walking up the country with this oar on your shoulder. And as soon as you heard somebody say, what on earth that you have on your shoulder? Drop your anchor there. As soon as you got far enough from the sea that they didn't know what an oar was.
Now, how about the changes that all this prosperity has brought to Peterhead?
Ah, well, Peterhead's not the same now. It's an awful lot bigger, an awful lot noisier, and an awful lot dirtier. Of course, it is an awful lot more prosperous. There is a wider range of employment open to young fellas now than ever there was in my day. But it's not the same place. Somehow or other, the changes have not been all for the good. The folk are not the same. There's been enough of change in the folk. The fisher folk are not the same. I think a touch of adversity would do them a power of good. As regards their character and their temperament. It's not good for you to have things that are favourable for you. I think a bit of adversity is good for folk.
Now, you've got a wee poem on that very theme about the man who has suffered being the best man. I'd love to hear that one again.
Is that the wind in his face?
Aye, the wind in his face.
The wind in his face. Well, this is a saying that I heard up the country, and I can't exactly if it was meant, but I had never heard it before. And I thought about this phrase, the wind in his face. And after a wee bit of thought, I wrote a verse or two about the lad with the wind in his face. Some folk get the wind in their face all their mortal days. Find if they ken the desert place, with its dreich and craggy braes. Theirs is the world a trachel and through, There's is a dour grey sky. For the sunny spell and the gentle dew, she might have passed them by. Some folk get the wind at their backs. There's is a lichtsome burn, with never a flaw in the fine spun flax they draw for the Berlin pan. Theirs is the world of fallen-faced men. Theirs is a bright blue sky. For the caul roch sure that weeds other men seems I to leave them dry. Some can smile in their weary lot, although they vecht be sair. Some hae aye the greet in their throat, though they've neither cark nor care. Keep be the chill for the sheltered place, whose heart is gone as a steen. I'll talk the Lord with a win in his face, and I'll hae a better friend.